Welcome to the Packers family. I am Damon, and today I'll be reacting to Super Wild Card Weekend. Really, it didn't come off that super. I mean, looking at all 6 games, holy cow. First of all, there was sloppy play all the way around. The refs were not good in very many of these games, starting with the very first game we're going to be talking about coming up. But it was just not a good look on the NFL. I mean, I'm looking at several of these teams, and they were just overmatched by the top teams that were playing in Wild Card Weekend. And then more specifically, let's look at those 2nd seed teams versus those 7th seed teams. There was a drastic difference in play between those. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started, starting with Raiders at Bengals. Now, the result of this game, it was 19-26. The Bengals get the W here. This right here was the pinnacle of terrible reffing, or whatever you want to say, officiating. It was just not very good. I think about the one play where the Bengals got the touchdown. Joe Burrow was running, looked like he was running out of bounds. Last second, threw it. Looks like the receiver got a touchdown there. But before the ball actually got to him, there was a blowing of the whistle. That should have resulted in a dead play, meaning they would have just redone the play. Refs don't normally mess up that bad, but that wasn't just the only instance in this game where the refs were terrible. You could make a good argument that the refs might have caused the Raiders to lose this game. But that being said, the argument against bad reffing is the fact that, hey, you're playing the game. There are other reasons you could point to that could have allowed you to overcome those bad reffing, and the Raiders definitely had their fair share of those. They weren't able to keep up offensively with the Bengals. The defense of the Bengals stepped up when need be. It was a very close game in the end. The Raiders lost by a touchdown. There's a lot of things that could have went right for the Raiders that they weren't able to accomplish, and I do believe the better team won. But you can't help but feel for the Raiders fans, as those refs did cost them some plays here and there, including that touchdown they gave up to Cincinnati. I would say it would be a bigger deal regarding the blowing of that whistle if it was the last play of the game. That being said, it happened in the second quarter. The Raiders could have overcame it. And since they weren't able to, Bengals come out with a W. The next game really just shows you the difference between some of these teams. The Patriots at Bills. Now, earlier in the season, the Patriots were able to beat the Bills, but I wonder if that had more to do with the weather than the standard of play between each team. And now they finally get to a point where the Bills were able to play in their domain. The weather wasn't going to be able to impact them. It was very cold, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't super windy or anything. And man, from the get-go, from the first drive, I thought, man, the Bills are coming out here to prove something. And did they ever? They had what some would consider the perfect offensive day. Every time they had the ball, they went down and scored a touchdown, other than when they were kneeling down to end the game. The Bills played a perfect game. They wanted to prove something to the league and to the Patriots that this is not their division anymore. This is the Bills' division to remain for years to come. Eagles at Bucks, the first of the 7 seed versus 2nd seed, and it really showed. You could see that the Buccaneers were just an overall way better team. I mean, my goodness, the Eagles were just overmatched. And really, the Eagles should be proud of how far they've come. They were able to achieve so much more than what they should have. I mean, they were supposed to be in a rebuild mode, and they're not. They looked awesome. The next game up was the 49ers at Cowboys, in which the 49ers ended up winning 23-17. Really, the 49ers overall seemed like the more physical team in this game. If you play this game again, it could be a different outcome here. Really, the Cowboys shot themselves in the foot. They had 14 penalties total. That alone really cost them the game. They couldn't really sustain drives very well. Their defense was allowing up all kind of rushing lanes there, and was leaving openings for Jimmy Garoppolo, who does currently have a broken hand, and he is able to still sling it as much as he needed to. The 49ers looked really tough. But talking about the Cowboys, man, they had so many penalties. They had so many drives that just ended. They did not run the ball nearly enough. They tried to lean on Dak Prescott, and all their plans, all their things they wanted to do, they could not do whatsoever. And even by the end of the game, they still were in it after all of those things that happened to them, all the things they weren't able to achieve. They were still in it, and they get bad play call. I mean, they were in a 2-minute drive. They were moving fast. They didn't have any timeouts. So they were moving the ball against prevent defense. And in a prevent defense moment where they should have either A, taken a shot to the end zone, or B, try to get the ball out quick to get a few extra yards so they can take a higher percentage shot to the end zone, they decided to call a QB draw in which Dak Prescott successfully ran upfield. However, he and the rest of the Cowboys outran the officials. And the official, when they get there, has to touch the ball so they can get it ready to hike, right? And so the official ran up to touch the ball real quick before they actually got the ball to hike and shoved Dak Prescott out of the way, shoved the center out of the way, touched the ball, ran on through. And by the time Dak Prescott was able to get the ball and spike it, game over. He didn't have enough time. That was a bad play call. I will say they would probably had a better chance if Dak Prescott probably would have slid about 5 yards sooner. That didn't happen. Bad play call. Should have been a ball in the air. Probably could have taken a couple shots to the end zone from where they're at. However, it's over. It's done. Learn from your mistakes. It doesn't sound like the Cowboys are going to get rid of Mike McCarthy because of it or anything like that. But man, how can Kellen Moore go into any job interviews now and possibly get a head coaching job after calling that play? And if he does go on to have interviews, I mean, that'd be the first question I ask him. Why did you call a QB draw in that situation? And have him explain himself. Good opportunity to learn and grow. If they don't view it that way and they try to blame the officials or whatever, then they're going to just keep failing. Then I look at the Steelers at Chiefs. Steelers, the 7th seed again. Chiefs, the 2nd seed, and it certainly looked that way. The Chiefs dominated from second quarter on. The first quarter was a lot closer than expected. One of my keys to the game was TJ Watt, and if he could be a game wrecker in that first quarter, he was able to, game wreck. But after that, the Chiefs were able to bounce back, prevent him from getting any pressure, and do TJ Watt things, and they were able to run away the game. My one concern for the Chiefs here is, man, did they pull out a lot of bags of tricks here? I mean, they had a offensive lineman actually catch a touchdown, and then Travis Kelce threw another touchdown. It just seemed like they were letting it all out on the field, and I don't blame them for that, but they were doing it against the Steelers, and I didn't feel like they really needed to do that. And so I wonder if they cost them some bag of tricks or opportunities for future games. I don't know. We'll see. And the last game of Wild Card Weekend was Cardinals at Rams, and the Cardinals looked like a playoff team who hadn't been to the playoffs in a very long time. They are disoriented to begin with. They didn't really show a lot of energy. It seemed like the Rams put it all out there. They were able to run down their throat. I mean, looking at Matthew Stafford, he didn't have to throw the ball more than 17 times, and when he did throw, he was extremely accurate. He put it on the spot. He was very efficient. The whole Rams offense was extremely efficient. That defense showed up. The Rams just let the Cardinals have it, and the Rams looked like the better team. The Rams ended up winning 34-11. Wild Card Weekend, I don't think I'm going to start calling it Super Wild Card Weekend anymore. It just wasn't that super. The NFL really should probably look back and trying to get back to a 12-team playoff, 6 from the NFC, 6 from the AFC, just like they were before, because that 7th seed isn't really doing a whole lot. Now, will the NFL go back to that setup? No, not at all. Because let me tell you, even though the games were bad and everything, guess who still watched? That's right, you and me and everybody else. NFL keeps getting more powerful, more money, and so why would they try to get rid of Super Wildcard Weekend when it's just going to bring them more money? And it does give some teams hope, like it gave the Steelers hope, right? Like it gave the Eagles hope, but really, they never stood a chance. But I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with me about the current playoff format? Does it need to change? Did you enjoy any of these past weekend's games? And which game was your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Go Pack, go.